My name is Becka Linton. I'm the Assistant Director of Inspired by Wonder Childcare. We are located in Winnipeg, Manitoba, with 2 locations, serving children 12 weeks to 12 years. For the purpose of this Capstone project, I was working with our kindergarten children, ages 4 to 5 years, at our school location. Our philosophy is based on the Reggio Emilia philosophy of learning for children, believing that children have 100 languages, and it is not our job to teach them, but rather our job to allow the children to show us what they know, so they grow their knowledge together. We learn as much from the children as they learn from us, taking all their innate curiosity and untarnished perspectives into account. I am excited to share my capstone project of our learning process about the community in which we live, mapping land, water, and habitats of the animals in our area. Over the summer, our full school-age program worked on a project about newcomers and refugees in our community. This brought about many questions about types of living environments and why people leave their home countries and how they get here. I felt this was a perfect segue into mapping the local and regional communities and speaking not only about human habitats, but about how we interact with animals and their habitats as well. I transitioned the kindergarten children into this mapping project by talking with them during morning meeting time. We talked about the modes of transportation we used each day to get from home to the childcare, and then again from the childcare to the community visits. I asked the children in a somewhat quizzing way, what would have happened if a boat had picked us up for our trips? This led us to a conversation about the spatial perspectives of land versus water in our local community and heightened their curiosity, one of the attitudes on the learning framework. We then looked at some of the images used in the National Geographic activity Land, Water, and Animals on a map. We first looked at the image of Duck Lake. This basic image gave a visual for the spatial perspective of land versus water. After discussing the map, the children then worked on developing their own maps of what they see in our local area every day. They each drew their ideas and talked with each other about when they have seen these landmarks, or why they thought they did not see specific things, like the rivers. When the children were finished their drawings, I told them I had a challenge for them and asked them to spend some time over the next few days observing something new about their community. I wanted to know what animals they see in our daily routines. At another morning meeting a few days later, I asked the children if they recalled what I wanted them to observe. The children were anxious to tell me about the dogs and cats and squirrels, and especially all the geese they had seen over the last several days. We then looked at a second image of Duck Lake from the National Geographic activity we had previously used, which includes animals both in the water and on the land. We talked about different animals we see in the image and other animals that may also fit in each of the categories. We then discussed if this was an accurate representation of our own community and used satellite and map images from Google that I was able to download and print online. We spoke about the outlines of the city and what the children see each day during their travels. We identified the land masses in our area and spoke about water. The children noted that we do not have as much water in the city. The children then moved to the table area where I had a large, beautifully drawn map of our city. This was a basic drawing mirrored from one of our Google images. On the table, I simply placed green and blue markers. The children worked collaboratively to color the large drawings to show their ideas of where the land and water should be. This was a great opportunity for conversation amongst one another. This activity allowed for communication and collaborative work, which are both skills in the learning framework. Once the children, as a group, felt their map was identified correctly for land and water, they took images of animals and placed them on the map based on where their habitats should be. We had many different groups of animals. We had lake and river animals as well as ocean animals. We had animals you would see each day in our community, as well as animals we would see regionally, and then even exotic animals that we would only see globally. The children worked collaboratively, again using skills from the learning framework to decide which animals best fit our local and regional scales. We went back as a group a few days later and recapped what we had learned about our local area, about our land and the water we see, about the animals we see and those we don't. To pull it all together for the children, I used the opportunity to share the story, Here We Are, Notes for Living on Planet Earth by Oliver Jeffers. This story talks about how things on our planet can be complicated but can be simple too, and that sometimes it's hard to understand the world around us since it's been here so long, and we've only been here a short time. It specifies that it's important to be kind to each other and to our earth because it's a place we all must share. These activities meant so much to me as an educator. It was enlightening to hear the children talk about their local community, to see them all working together. It fit well with my learning philosophy of children being competent and capable, and showed great amount of knowledge per the learning framework of both our changing planet as well as wildlife and wild places. Can't wait to see where our mapping takes us. Coming up next, we're working on a map of North America. The beautifully drawn map will allow the children to see the coast and integrate more of the animal groups, such as the ocean animals. As their knowledge progresses, we'll explore a globe and discuss where the more exotic groups of animals may reside. Most importantly, I know the children have learned about their local area, how it interconnects, how many of us see and hear things differently, but how it all works together to become one great community.